unwell, my sweet? I think you should see a doctor. I know a fantastic doctor who will make you feel all better inside. His name is Dr. Phibes.
9 eternities in doom.
I get a lot of requests to review the abominable Dr. Phibes, which is a 1971 movie starring horror movie legend Vincent Price, because it's a very Phantom-esque film. Or at least the character of Dr. Phibes is Phantom-esque. The story is actually nothing like it. However, before I start, I should point out that, like most of my other reviews, this one will be full of spoilers, so if you haven't seen this movie yet, then I strongly recommend that you watch that first. It's quite a unique, eccentric little horror film that's terrific fun, and at the moment you can still watch it on YouTube if you search for it. Watching the film, you can see how people make the connection between Dr. Phibes and Phantom of the Opera movies. Disfigured in an accident? Check. Hides his face? Check. Wears a cloak? Check. Musical genius who likes to play on his pipe organ? Check. Barking mad psychopath? Check. However, there's no real love interest for him as such, unless you count his wife, Victoria, who happens to be dead.
My love, sweet queen and noble wife, I alone remain to bring delivery of your pain.
She died in a car crash that disfigured Phibes, and he keeps her body perfectly preserved. In that sense, it's rather like the Climax, which was the sequel to the 1943 Phantom. Phibes lives in this weird little place with all these little weird clockwork musicians, and this strangely hot Russian chick who just comes from nowhere and is never explained. Her name's Vulva or Vulvanavia or Vulnavia, I forget. I don't know where she came from, I don't know what she's there for. Is she his new mistress? I don't think so. Is she his sister? Never explained, but it doesn't matter. The film is absolutely gorgeous to look at. Occasionally it's like straying into a wonderfully strange dream, or even a nightmare. But enough of this oddness, let's get on with the story. Phibes has spent years planning his revenge on the 9 doctors who were unable to save his wife's life. Which I think is extremely unfair. I mean, I'm sure they did what they could. It's not like they're all drunk in the operating theatre, so what the hell? And why are there so many doctors? Why does it take 9 people to operate on somebody? Must have been a really slow day at the ER.
9 killed you. 9 shall die. 9 times 9. 9 killed you. 9 shall die. 9 eternities in doom.
9 eternities in doom. So this is the first murder that we see. I don't think I've ever seen anyone actually get battered to death.
Good morning.
Oh, whoa, look out for the fake bat on a string. That's terrible, I mean, look at that. Now this is interesting. Phibes hides his disfigured face by stitching real skin onto him, so he has a normal face. Now where have I seen this sort of thing before? That's right, the Robert Englund version. I really wonder if the makers of that saw this movie. I think it's too much of a coincidence. It also seems to have influenced Darkman, where again, he hides behind artificial skin rather than a mask to give him a realistic looking face. Even his coat is very similar. Masquerade! Paper faces on parade! Now this is a particularly nasty death. Phibes somehow persuades this doctor to wear this frog mask. As you do. But it's booby-trapped and crushes his head. Note the rather ironic death. What did this guy say he did for a living?
I'm a psychiatrist, actually. Head shrinker.
Get it? Head shrink? Yeah. The movie mixes a horror with some great British black comedy, particularly the inept detectives who are pursuing Phibes. It reminds me of the old Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes tradition of having totally useless police who always come a little bit too late to prevent anything nasty from happening.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, medical men die every day.
I'm aware of that, sir.
Good. They're composed of the same flesh and blood as you and I.
I'm aware of that too, sir. I happen to have seen rather a lot of their flesh and blood in the past few days.
Hey, Terry Thomas is playing one of the doctors. What's he doing in this? Ding dong. Terry apparently gets off by watching 1920s porn, so much so that he lets these two total nutters into his house to drain every drop of blood from his body. So the police go to this expert in Judaism because they think they can see a pattern emerging in the murders.
Part of the Ketach.
The what, sir?
The Ketach. The 10 curses visited upon the pharaohs before Exodus.
I see. Well, what form would the curses take?
The curse of boils, bats, frogs, the curse of blood, the curse of rats, hail, beasts, the locust, of course, the death of the firstborn, and then, finally, of darkness.
Was there a plague of bats in Egypt?
Ramesses, let my people go, you damn dirty ape, or he will smite you with bats. I do not know your god, bitch, nor will I let your people go. Behold the power of the Lord.
Or even a plague of rats? That put aside, I really love this scene where this doctor's flying a plane and the rats sort of chew through the controls. Oh, look at all those rats running around on his lap. That would be Julian Sand's ultimate fantasy, wouldn't it? One thing that's really awesome about Fives is his voice. In the story, it gets destroyed in the car accident somehow, so he uses his musical genius to create this weird phonograph-style speaking device.
Severed my darling too quickly from this life, of fires drawn and of memories met.
It is a shame we don't get to hear Vincent Price's normal voice, which is pure awesomeness, but even this weird stilted kind of voice he uses here is pretty creepy.
9 shall die, and be returned your loss.
It makes me really wonder if this Fibes device was actually the inspiration for Winslow Leach's voice out of Phantom of the Paradise, which in turn was the inspiration for Darth Vader's voice.
My music is for Phoenix. Only she can sing it. Anyone else that tries dies.
In fact, I'd go even further to say that although Dr. Fibes is clearly influenced by Phantom of the Opera movies, I think that this movie may have been the inspiration for other films. We've already mentioned Darkman, the Robert Englund version, but I'd be very surprised if it wasn't the inspiration for the Saw movies, since it has basically the same plot. That is, eccentric criminal genius commits a number of murders using ridiculously complex and imaginative devices. I mean, this frog mask, for instance, could have come right out of Saw, as could this contraption that they use in the final scenes.
That is an X-ray of your son's rib cage. You will see from it that a tiny key has been lodged close to his heart.
I'm going to give you a hint as to where I've hidden the key. The hint is this. It's right before your eyes.
This trap represents the death of the firstborn plague, where the main doctor has to operate on his son to remove a key from his body, but there's a time limit.
In a few moments, acid will be released into that tube. It will creep down, slowly, inexorably. It will take 6 minutes to reach the outlet over his face. Exactly 6 minutes, Doctor. My wife existed only 6 minutes on the operating table, and then she was dead. You murdered her.
No.
Murdered her. But he will have what she did not. A second chance. A few remaining minutes are all you have.
Again, this is a sort of sadistic race against time kind of trap that you'd expect to see in a Saw movie.
He